Good evening, SICW wrestling fans. Welcome to this week's SICW Sunday Night Update and SICW All-Star Wrestling. Herb, we are coming off of another great night at the East Carondelet Community Center, and there were battles last night like you wouldn't believe, but still some unsolved agendas there.
Well, what a way to close out 2021 and get ready for 2022. You know, the SICW Classic title, Gary Jackson coming up victorious over that. But boy, Rough Cut Rick Ruby has nothing to be ashamed of. A 2 out of 3 fall match. I'm telling you, they just tore the place down.
And it's great to see that Central States title here in SICW with another prestigious title to be defended, and what a way to defend it in that 2 out of 3 falls.
Exactly, and of course, Flash Flanagan, nothing really solved there other than he is a man on a mission.
He is on a warpath. That's the only thing I can describe it as.
And Travis Cook, as we go into 2022, you better watch out, I can tell you. What I saw last night, Flash Flanagan is a man on that mission, and that bullseye is right on Travis Cook.
Yeah, it is on target and headed that direction. And 22, we're making some big plans for that year, and there is definitely going to be some finale, some fireworks that blow off on some of these big battles that are happening.
Exactly, and I can't wait to get it all going.
Absolutely. Last week we introduced a little promo to a great podcast that's happening with a good friend of SICW's, Jerry Briscoe.
Yeah, Jerry Briscoe and JBL. Jerry was in for the big show a couple weeks ago, and they've got such a great podcast going on, and it's one that if you're a true diehard wrestling fan, you can go on there and you can laugh right along with them because it's no BS. It's all about road stories, and they've got some of the all-time great legends that's been joining them on there. And you've seen on the promo we did last week with Jerry Briscoe. He's been a longtime friend of SICW, and him and JBL, man, they go together. They've had Stan Hansen on there. Anybody you can think of that's been in the wrestling game and they got a guest all lined up for
a list coming up for next year.
Exactly.
So not only are we making plans for 2022, they're adding to that list of distinguished guests going to be on there, and we'll be sharing some of those here on SICW to help bring that information too. Because great podcasts they're doing, keeping alive those memories of the old school wrestling.
Exactly, and I encourage you to check out Jerry Briscoe and JBL podcast because just sit back and laugh right along with them because they've got some great road stories they're talking about.
Herb, we talked about 2022 going to be a big year in the making, and it starts right off January 15th. We are heading back to the East Carondelet Community Center.
Exactly, monthly show there, helping the community center there. We're always looking forward to doing that. I had Santa Claus there last night. He's always there making sure who's been good and if there's any bad ones like the Travis Cooks. But 2022 is going to start off right back there in East Carondelet.
Well, let's talk about a big show. We had a bunch of big shows here in 2021, and a big show that's going to be early in 22, and perhaps, if not the biggest show of 2022, one of the most important, honoring a first responding legend here in our area that's going through some tough times.
Yeah, that's been out there, social media, and of course, we've always, SICW has always wanted to help our first responders, whether it be the law enforcement, firefighters, EMS, whatever it may be. But we've got one of our longtime fire chiefs from the French Village Fire Department, a good friend of ours, Al Lapointe, Chief Lapointe, has got some major health issues going on, and so SICW is going to do what they can along with the great men and women of the local fire departments and our first responders to put a fundraiser together, and we're going to be doing that on February the 5th back at the Belclair Fairgrounds.
So we know it's a big building, and we're going to fill it up.
We're going to fill it up for Chief Lapointe. Not only is he the fire chief of the French Village Fire Department, he's also a battalion chief over in Missouri.
Correct. Rock Community Fire Protection District, battalion chief over there. Been doing that for many years, and as you said, fire chief over here at French Village Fire Department, a friend to all, and definitely we're all going to come together and going to have a lot more information coming out about that, but wanted to get the word out tonight that stay tuned for that February 5th Belle Claire Fairgrounds. Some big announcements are going to be coming about.
Well, and you know we've known Chief LaPointe for many years, and his family, his sister, sister-in-law, everybody, his wife, Brenda, the kids, and again, when you have a situation like this, all the help you can get is really needed. And in SICW, we've always supported the first responders, the Swansea Fire Department, whichever ones they may be, you know. But this is probably going to be the most important match of 2022, helping the chief and his family through these hard times.
Absolutely. So stay tuned each week. We'll be bringing you the updates of how that event is built out, what's going to be on that card, how to get your tickets. Stay tuned for that on the upcoming weeks here on SICW All-Star Wrestling. Now let's take a look at this week's episode of SICW All-Star Wrestling.
Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to another action-packed episode of SICW All-Star Wrestling. I'm Drew Ebenhouse, here with Herb Simmons. Herb, we just keep topping ourselves.
We sure do. Listen to this studio audience here, SICW fans at their best each and every week right here on All-Star Wrestling.
You bet. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to see Mauler McDarby one-on-one with the Night Train Gary Jackson. We've got Gil Rogers in action, and in our TV main event, it's going to be Belleville's own Bobby D taking on the 364-pound rough-cut Rick Ruby. It's three heck of matches, and we're ready to go. Let's head up to ringside for our first match. Ladies and gentlemen, our opening contest on today's All-Star Wrestling set for one fall. Introducing first from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, weighing 300 pounds, Payton Aires. His opponent from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, weighing 211 pounds, Gil Rogers. Opening bell has sounded. This should be an interesting contest, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, Gil Rogers on the top of the ladder here in SICW, taking on a relative newcomer, Payton Aires. We've seen him a few times in the past here on All-Star Wrestling, and I can't wait to get a better look at this big hoss of a man, Herb.
Well, man, he's a big one, and we've seen him, as you said, in the past, and comes in. Gil Rogers, look at that drop kick.
Gil Rogers, one of the most beautiful drop kicks anywhere on this planet.
Whoa.
Oh, was looking for that monkey flip right off the bat, Payton Aires. Blocking the monkey flip. Oh, but Gil getting out of the way of the elbow. Oh, nice cradle roll. My goodness. I thought that might have done it. Got him for the two. This is a fast-paced opening matchup here.
Nice leg takedown there. I'll tell you what, Drew, I'm going to make a prediction here. This Payton Aires is somebody that you better keep your eyes on. I just got a feeling that this big monster of a young man is going to go places in this professional wrestling.
Absolutely right. You can see a ton of potential in the fella. And it's like we've seen with a lot of the bigger men here. It's just a case a lot of times. Huge Samoan drop. It's just a case of getting comfortable. Could he do it? Oh, my God. What statement. Woo. What a statement would that have made, Payton Aires picking up a win on Gil.
Well, as we said, and it can happen any time. It's just a matter of a 1-2-3 count. Whoa, slides down the back.
And this really is just a matter of experience. Gil Rogers is a 20-year veteran. Payton Aires, on the other side, a relative newcomer here in the business. But, that's that Mr. Wrestling 2 knee lift, and he got it. Payton was looking like he tried to kick out, but it was too late. Gil got the 3. It's that display of technical wrestling expertise from Gil Rogers, allowing him to pick up the win over a very game Payton Aires. Congratulations, Gil. That was a hard-fought win over somebody he gave up 90 pounds to.
Wow.
Well, Gil Rogers, nobody to be trifled with, and he just gave Payton a thumbs up, so we'll see more from Payton Aires, I'm sure, but it's Gil Rogers picking up the win today. Ladies and gentlemen, earlier today our cameras caught up with Belleville's own Bobby D. Let's go to that now and hear what Bobby has to say.
I've been dealing with the Travis Cook organization for so damn long I can't even keep track of it anymore. I've teamed with Flash and had to go against Hargis and Casa. We've had problems with them. everybody knows that I've had all these problems with Fender. He's throwing fireballs in my face. He's throwing me into stairs. We've back and forth nonstop. Got a win over him. Had a couple run-ins with Attila. That's what I'm focused on for this next year. That's going to be my Christmas present to myself, is working on improving myself and getting up to take that classic wrestling title from Attila in 2022.
Wrestling fans, I am here with the man himself, the Big Texan. Tex, we've seen in recent weeks you've had troubles with the professionals. You've had trouble with Mauler McDarby. What's on your mind today, sir?
Woo! Dr. Drew. Yes, sir. I'll tell you, the professionals, they want to come and wrestle me, but they want to bring weapons. They want to bring chains. Well, me and Brandy right here, we're going to get Tyler Bodine back in here, and we're going to go one-on-one with the professionals. And the outcome's going to be different. We're going to beat them. 1, 2, 3.
Well, I know the professionals have to look out. This is Brandy, you called her?
Brandy.
Well, nice to meet you, Brandy. Wouldn't want to be on the wrong end of this or your lariat, sir. Closing thoughts. You and Tyler Bodine, what do the professionals have to look out for when they get you two in a tag team match?
They have to look out for the nearest hospital because we're going to put them there.
You heard it, folks. Professionals, you better look out. Get some eyes in the back of your head. Look out for Brandy. Look out for Tyler Bodine. Look out for this strong lariat. Big Texan, Tyler Bodine, got their eyes set on the professionals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now let's head back up to ringside for our next matchup. Ladies and gentlemen, this matchup set for one fall. Introducing first from Dogtown, weighing in at 230 pounds, representing the professionals, Mauler McDarby. His opponent is from Petticoat Junction, weighing in at 220 pounds. He is your SICW Central States champion, the Night Train, Gary Jackson. See the Night Train preparing for combat. Mauler McDarby is ready to go. Gary Jackson's almost ready to go. Nick Ridenauer checking our participants. We are good to go. The bell has rung. It is Gary Jackson in the red against Mauler McDarby in the black. This should be a really, really good match. Of course, we've recently seen Mauler McDarby just here on All-Star Wrestling picking up a win over Big Texan. He used some shenanigans.
And a questionable
win. He had to use a chain. He had to use the ropes. But the point is, he got the job done.
He sure did. And right now, he's going against the SICW Central States champion, the Night Train, Gary Jackson.
And we do have to mention, this is a non-title match. However, Gary has been a fighting champion. Of course, he picked up the win in a big 2-ring battle royal, and now he has retained it in a 2 out of 3 falls match recently against Rick Ruby. I can't wait to see what Gary has in store for this title reign. He started off very successfully.
Well, if you remember the night in Belleville, Illinois, when he won that 2-ring battle royal, he said he would be a fighting champion, and so far he's always lived up to that. A nice arm drag by McDarby.
Oh, and look at that. Rubbing a little salt in the wounds there, mocking the Night Train. This is something I've been very interested in, this individual matchup. We usually see the professionals in tag team action. However, both Mauler McDarby and Sean Santel learned from Gary Jackson when they were breaking into this business. So even though he might not admit it, I think Mauler McDarby has a fair amount of respect for the Night Train. He better anyway. As we just saw, Gary Jackson, he might have taught Mauler McDarby some things, but he didn't teach him everything that the Night Train himself knows.
Well, and you know, Drew, you've been around long enough to know Gary Jackson. Have you ever seen a more down-to-earth professional than Gary Jackson?
No, sir. You're absolutely right. Every locker room on this planet would be blessed to have someone like the Night Train in it. He's universally respected by fans and wrestlers alike.
I've heard many workers that are talking on the podcast nowadays talk about when you talk about a professional, you got to be talking about Gary Jackson, because there's nobody that ever says anything bad about him. He's well respected by everybody, even those that he's took on in the ring.
You bet. He's been there. He's done everything. This is a man who's been in the wrestling business since 1984. Mauler McDarby might have been 1 or 2 years old in 1984.
Right now, he's going in there against the SICW Central Stage champion. Backs him into that corner. Referee telling him, let him out of the corner.
In Mauler, you just never know what he's got up his sleeve or tucked into his singlet. Oh, look at that. He was whipped into the corner but sprung right back out with a huge clothesline and an elbow drop to the Night Train. Grabs that arm in a key lock almost for the pin, but Night Train got out of there. Mauler McDarby, he is a crafty fellow. They don't really get to show, they being the professionals, what they can do in individual settings, and it's often quite impressive.
Well, I guess the question could be is why aren't we seeing the professional tag teams together? I mean, that's a question I think that we need to maybe find out, because normally where you've seen one, you saw the other one. But now it's been McDarby, and Santel's been kind of MIA.
McDarby whipping Jackson into the corner. Oh, little bit of tit for tat. That was kind of what McDarby did just a moment ago. Jackson whipping McDarby into the ropes. Big back body drop. You can see now Mauler McDarby, a little bit of hesitation on his face. Elbow right to the back of the head. That'll make you see stars. Oh, what's he got in mind, Gary Jackson? He scouted that back body drop into a backslide. He got it, the Night Train picking up the win.
Just that quick.
That was a very even back and forth match between Mauler McDarby and the Night Train. But there he is. The Night Train, Gary Jackson picking up the win on All-Star Wrestling. Great match. It is our Central States champ victorious today. Well, Herb, we recently talked about where is Sean Santel? Why has McDarby been kind of flying solo? I know our cameras caught up with Mauler McDarby earlier today. Maybe he will have some of those answers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a listen to Mauler McDarby now.
So word has it that the Big Texan is upset with the professionals. The Big Texan seems to be angry at the professionals, and I don't know why. Is it the fact that I smashed one of his tag partners' head in with my shillelagh? Or is it the fact that I referred to him as a flapjack wino that smells like cow pies? I'll never understand. But all of a sudden the professionals are supposed to be scared because he went back to Texas to go get Tyler Bovine, the big, bad country boy that's supposed to be tough as nails. Well, it's a funny thing that you found him, and I highly suggest that Herb Simmons and SICW should look at bringing up charges for cattle rustling on the Big Texan. Because I know for a fact that his name isn't Tyler Bovine. I know for a fact his name is Elsie. I heard years ago Jeff Brooks was looking for him. And I'm going to make sure once we are done with those two and they look like ground beef, I will call Jeff Brooks myself and let him know that I found Elsie. Because after all, we are men of value. Now, the other reason that we show no fear to the Big Texan and Tyler Bovine is we just got done pushing and running the Rock and Roll Express out of SICW. We beat them so bad. And I have it on good authority. All the stooges tell me that before that match, the Rock and Roll Express signed a 2-year deal with SICW. And after that match, I heard it on good authority that they begged Herb Simmons, please, Mr. Simmons, please let us out of this contract. We can't survive another beating like this. So, Big Texan, Tyler Bodine, bring it! Because we are now focused. We are not taking this seriously. And you are just a stepping stone on the way back to us recapturing the SICW Tag Team titles.
Ladies and gentlemen, your main event on this week's All-Star Wrestling is set for one fall. Introducing first, from Detroit, Michigan, weighing 364 pounds, rough cut, Rick Ruby. His opponent from Belleville, Illinois, at 271 pounds, Bobby D. Your referee is Denny Thomas. He is called for the bell. The bell has rung. Bobby D, Rick Ruby circling each other. Oh, going for a collar and elbow. Bobby ducked it, delivering a nice chop right to the chest of Rick Ruby.
Well, the Rick Ruby, I mean, this guy has been on a roll since he's come to SICW, and now he's got his work cut out for him against the Belleville's own Bobby D, who can brawl, he can wrestle. Whatever you want to do, Bobby D's up for it.
You're absolutely right, and I'm very interested in this. This is kind of two men at a crossroads. Rick Ruby has been looking really impressive recently, and his confidence has risen. Of course, we're recently coming off of a big 2 out of 3 falls match where he challenged the Night Train for the Central States title. He came up a little short in that opportunity, but I think that did boost his confidence just to prove to himself that he could hang and become this close to being the Central States champion. On the other side is Bobby D, someone who in the last 3-4 months has a bit, kind of rejuvenated himself. We're seeing a more aggressive Bobby D, and that's earned him some pretty key victories over really big name opponents. And he's going to have to rely on that aggression as he's giving up almost 100 pounds here to Rough Cut Ruby.
Oh, without a doubt. Rough Cut worked written on that arm, now goes behind. Bobby D trying to do a reversal, which he does real smooth. Side headlock.
Well, very nice. Into a sort of a hammer lock. He's attempting. Oh, look at that. This is all about leverage. If he can get Ruby down, he's trying to get that one knee down. Well, he got it. So that's going to make this hold a little more effective. I will say, props to Bobby D for attempting a battle of strength. Rick Ruby, like I said,
standing drop kick knocks Ruby into the corner.
Bobby D was like a running knee lift right to the gut. One more, he's calling for it. Ruby out of the way. You can't telegraph yourself and give away what you're going to do. He said one more, giving away your move to Rick Ruby.
Nope.
Oh, and that's what happens when you give someone, a veteran like Rick Ruby, 1 inch to breathe. He takes a foot, shoving just Bobby D's left shoulder right into that metal post.
Well, and you said Ruby lost that 2 out of 3 fall match against Jackson. And when that happens to an individual like a Rough Cut Rick Ruby, it just lights that fire underneath him. And I think you're seeing that right now. I don't know if I'd want to be in Bobby D's shoes.
Sure. Well, with Rick Ruby, like I said, he proved to himself that he was within, a hair of winning that Central States title. So with just a few corrections, alterations, maybe a new hold or something, Rick Ruby might come back and be a different competitor for Gary Jackson.
Well, right now he's trying to work on that arm of Bobby D. Referee Denny Thomas checking to make sure Bobby didn't want to give it up.
Look at that. He's working on the arm on the left side, and he's got that right knee of his just buried into the right ribs of Bobby D. Ugh. And that's exactly how you use that weight to your advantage. It can slow you down, but it can also make you more powerful.
That big forearm right across the upper back. And then that big ham hock to the forehead.
Just a punch to the head.
I mean, Bobby D says, wait a minute. The 2 hard blows now draping him over the middle rope.
Just crushing the throat. The Adam's apple pushed right into that metal. It's a metal cable underneath these ropes. It's not just a rope. And that can certainly cause Big damage. Ruby sends Bobby into the ropes. Big back elbow. Look at that. Look at the face on Bobby D. He's on Weird Street. But almost probably relying on instincts more than anything. Kicking out. But look at the look on his face. I'm not sure Bobby's totally recovered. Rick Ruby staying on him, not giving Bobby one chance to recover. Oh. He was pulling on the nose and the mouth there, but like any, grizzled veteran, he knows you have until the count of 5 to break up a hold, and that's what he did.
Well, and they know that, and they'll take all the advantage they can, just getting the referee to that point.
Here's what's interesting about Bobby D. Oh, nice, almost like an STO takedown. Look at that.
Bobby D tuning it up a notch here on Rick Ruby.
And returning some of the right hands right back to the face of Rick Ruby. He can brawl, like you said, with the best of them. Oh, big back body drop from Rick Ruby. Bobby D is stunned. Ruby goes for the cover. Oh. Bobby got that left shoulder out at 2. It almost looked like Ruby kind of pulled it up, but I'm not sure about that. See what he's got in mind here. Big elbow drop. Oh, my God. Oh, I don't know how Bobby kicked out of that one. That'll crush a normal man's ribs.
What's that, 360-plus pounds?
Yes, sir. Right in the midsection, right in the ribs. The thing about Bobby D that I find fascinating, we've seen it. He can fight like the best of them. But he chooses not to. It's a wrestling hold. He tries to get it done within the confines of the rules. He doesn't have to, but he does. And I think that's really admirable.
Oh, big chop delivered by, now back and forth. Oh, you don't want to get in a slubber chops fest with Bobby D.
Listen to those. These are even through a T-shirt, but man, it's like a shotgun sounding all across East Carondelet. Oh, but he ran right into that right arm of Rick Ruby. That'll cut your momentum short very quickly.
It definitely slowed down Bobby D, I can tell you that. Uh-oh.
Bobby holding the jaw.
Is he going to measure him up for that big leg? No. Big
he was
splash.
going for a big splash. Bobby D saw it coming, rolling out of the way.
Talk about a 747 coming in for a landing.
Fans sending their love to Bobby D, cheering him on. Can he use this as a second wind? Kick to the chest. Make it 2. Make it 3. 4. Just chopping down the big man with these kicks. Big chop. Speaking of chops, that's how you chop down big old trees, one stroke at a time.
Oh, that big uppercut landed its mark on rough cut Rick Ruby. Now he goes up on that second rope.
There you go. 4, 5. Bobby showing a little bit of that aggression. Big blows. He's got Ruby staggered. He's got to do something, follow up on this momentum. Oh, that's got to be so hard. How do you throw 370 pounds into the ropes? Big reversal by Ruby. Back body drop countered into a sunset flip. Bobby got him. Bobby got him. He got the sunset flip, held the arms and the shoulders down. I might say Bobby D was the underdog in this, at least giving up 100 pounds to rough cut Rick Ruby. But he is a wily one, and that did get the 3. Bobby D with the sunset flip, pinning Ruby's shoulders to the mat. It is Belleville's own Bobby D with the win today on All-Star Wrestling. All right, Herb, that's going to bring us to a close on another episode of All-Star Wrestling. That was 3 amazing matches tonight with competitors all jockeying for position here in SICW.
Everybody working their way up that ladder, and I'll tell you, it's only getting bigger and better each and every week here on All-Star Wrestling.
Absolutely right. Our very own Gil Rogers picking up a victory over newcomer Payton Aires. It was our Central States champion, Night Train Gary Jackson, picking up a win, a very evenly contested contest against Mauler McDarby. And as we just saw, it was Belleville's own Bobby D picking up a win over the heavier competitor in Rough Cut Rick Ruby. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 banger matches. I've had a blast here on All-Star Wrestling today. I can't wait for next week's episode, folks. For Herb Simmons, I'm Drew Abbenhouse. Thank you so much for joining us. Fans, we'll see you next week. Have a great night, everybody.
Herb, another great episode of SICW All-Star Wrestling.
Well, every Sunday evening is great. The fans are really getting into the weekly episodes. They're following along, and it's really exciting to get those text messages and those private messages saying, "Hey, this week was great. It was off the chart," and it's really great to do that. And we got some other announcements going to be making, maybe going on another station. So that's going to be coming out here real soon, I think.
Very true. Got some great feedback last week, as you said, when we closed out with some classic footage. So as we send you away tonight, we're also going to bring you back to some classic footage when Dory Funk Jr. took on Bruiser Brody in Japan. So thanks for joining us for this week's of SICW All-Star Wrestling, and take a look at this footage as we close out tonight. Have a good week.
Two of the most famous names in wrestling and in St. Louis are Dory Funk Jr. and King Kong Brody. Let's join in action a battle between these Hall of Fame superstars from Tokyo, Japan in 1983. For the drop kick, oh, Brody knocked through the ropes and onto the apron by that drop kick from Dory Funk Jr. Brody tried to regain his bearings. That drop kick surprised him, and Brody sees the leg there. Look out. Brody dragging Dory Funk Jr. outside the ring and into the audience. Where's Brody going? Oh, into a chair, into a metal folding chair. Brody picking up a chair, drives it into the head of Dory Funk Jr. Oh, bangs the chair on top of Dory Funk Jr.'s head. Dory Jr. taken outside the ring by King Kong Brody, and now it is a Donnybrook. This is a melee, and this is something King Kong Brody excels at like nobody else. Brody was pounding on the head of Dory Funk Jr., picks up another chair, drives it into the throat of Dory Funk Jr. The crowd scattering as Higuchi tries to restore some order. The referee knowing nobody really wants to see a double countout. They want to see this thing finished in the ring. So Higuchi doing the right thing. Oh, look at Dory Jr.'s head split wide open. Dory Jr. bleeding as Joe Higuchi tries to bring the two men back into the ring where they can settle it inside the squared circle. But Dory Funk Jr. bleeding. He's been battered by King Kong Brody, and a kick right to the head of Dory Funk Jr. Dory trying to get into the ring, and it's not easy to do. Look at Brody. He smells it now. He knows that Dory Funk Jr. is in deep trouble, and kicked out of the ring one more time by King Kong Brody. Oh, the blood smeared all over the face of Dory Funk Jr. Higuchi checking the wound. He would stop the match if he thought the cut was too deep. Another kick to the head by King Kong Brody. He drives Dory Jr. to the top turnbuckle. Dory Jr. takes another kick to the chest. Dory Funk Jr. in deep, deep trouble against Brody. Throws a wild punch, not even close. Brody with a chop right to the top of the head. Brody hoisting Dory Jr. big body slam. King Kong Brody going outside the ring. Where's he going? Brody mounting the ropes, going to the top. The bloody Dory Funk Jr. underneath. Brody knowing that Dory Jr. could be ripe for the picking right here. This could be a big victory. Look out. Here comes Dory Jr. And he plucks Brody off the top rope with a body slam and stamps right on the forehead of King Kong Brody, Dory Funk Jr. That's why he was the world champion for 4 years. He's tough. Dory Funk Jr. fighting back against King Kong Brody, and Brody biting the wound of Dory Funk Jr., trying to regain the initiative in this match. Another chop to the throat puts Dory Funk Jr. on the mat. Brody covering. Count of one, count of two. And Dory Jr. kicks away. Pride at stake. Big money. Future main events. Reputation. Dory Funk Jr. has his head hooked by King Kong Brody. Suplexed by Brody on Dory Funk Jr. A suplex, and Dory Jr. just sinking deeper and deeper into trouble. He tried to come back once, but he couldn't make it. And now Brody, the brute power of King Kong Brody, has damaged Dory Funk Jr., and Brody trying to finish him right now. Brody looking, poises that chop right to the top of the head. Dory Funk Jr. staggering and going down, trying to fight his way back. Look how badly he's bleeding. Dory Funk Jr. How he's hanging in there, it's nothing but a miracle. Try for a pin, count of 2, and Dory Jr. slides out from underneath King Kong Brody. Brody must be getting frustrated. Ooh, do you see that boot? Do you see how high he had that leg as he put it right into the jaw of Dory Funk Jr.? That's one flexible athlete there in King Kong Brody, stomping on the head of Dory Funk Jr. Brody a little more careful now. He'd already been sailed off the top rope. This time he goes to the second rope, comes off with a big stomp, almost an atomic drop, shades of Dick the Bruiser onto the chest of Dory Funk Jr. Try for the pin. This could be it. Oh, Dory Funk Jr. Don't ever count out the courage of Dory Funk Jr., even against somebody as rowdy, as violent, as dangerous as King Kong Brody. Dory Jr. trying to fight back with those forearm uppercuts. They still sting. Ooh, that was right on the chin. Dory Jr. nailing Brody with another forearm uppercut. Dory Funk Jr. battling back, goes behind Brody. Brody moves to the ropes, sense trouble there. Dory Jr. pounding away, hooking the head, trying for the suplex. He was blocked the first time he tried it, but this one, he gets Brody into the air. The suplex by Dory Funk Jr. on King Kong Brody. Is he looking? Yes, the spinning toe hold. The spinning toe hold by Dory Funk Jr. How he won the World Heavyweight Championship. And even Brody has to go to the ropes to get a break from that spinning toe hold. Now that's going to take a toll on Brody. You take a big man's legs away, but Dory Jr. going outside the ring after Brody. He grabs Brody's head and slams him head first into the steel ring post. Brody slammed head first into the steel ring post by Dory Funk Jr. Dory grabbing Brody, slamming him into the press table. Brody being slammed into the press table by Dory Funk Jr. This is desperation now. It's a war. There's nothing to hold back on. Brody again slammed into the steel ring post, trying to get back into the ring. Dory Funk Jr. has battered King Kong Brody. And look at Brody. He's bleeding. Brody, Dory Jr., both masks of blood. Brody and Dory Jr. Forearm uppercuts by Dory Funk Jr. Kikuchi trying to get everybody back. Dory Jr. pounding on Brody. Here's his opening. Wild punches by Dory Jr. and by Brody. Oh, that blow landed on Dory Jr. and on Joe Higuchi. Small package by Dory Funk Jr. to try for the pin. Where's the referee? Here comes Higuchi. Count of 2, and Brody breaks free. Both men bleeding, the blood all over the ring. Dory Jr. going for the Greco-Roman back body drop. Look at Brody. He blocks it. Brody blocks the Greco-Roman back body drop. Covers Dory Funk Jr. The count of 3, Dory Funk Jr. has been beaten by King Kong Brody. Dory Jr. going for that Greco-Roman back body drop. Here it is in slow motion. Look at Brody using the ropes, using the ring. A brilliant move by King Kong Brody, and it's Brody over Dory Funk Jr. What a war, what a match.